welcome back to Homeschool Show and Tell video 3. For those of you who haven't seen our other homeschooling show and tell playlists, I will link those down below. Jessica from the Waldock Way and I have started a homeschooling show and tell link up where every month we host a playlist based on different homeschooling topics. 2 months ago was, what was 2 months ago? Planning and organizing, and the last month was showing us morning baskets, or how you do morning basket or do morning basket with us, just all morning baskets. This month, the topic is 5 tips for a successful homeschooling day. So there are going to be tons of ladies who are sharing their 5 tips for successful homeschooling days. I think this is gonna be really interesting because success is defined differently for everyone. So if you guys are interested, then stick around. So first things first, if you guys want to link up in today's playlist, all of the info is in the description box down below. Jessica has written a blog post that goes over the very simple rules for how to collab with us in this open collaboration. Now, I wasn't sure, there's 2 ways I can take this. I can take this the very Abby way, which is to dig deeper in what defines success and kind of refocus and put your heart into it instead of your physical efforts into it. But I decided instead I'm gonna be very practical and share 5 very practical tips for a successful 24 hours of homeschooling, because if I let myself start rambling on and on about how success is really just blah, 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 then we'll be here for 45 minutes. I'm actually going to keep this short and sweet so you guys can move on to other people's tips. So, right out of the gate, tip number 1 is early to bed, early to rise for you parents, not just for your kids. I'm gonna put a video down below in the description box from Sonia Schaefer. I've talked about this one before. It talks about biblically how there's evening and there's morning, there's evening and there's morning, how the preparation for a successful homeschooling day starts in the evening, but if you're up too late, how that sabotages everything as well. So preparing in the evening, getting to bed, waking up early in the morning, and being in a place of rest, being well rested, being well prepared, and being able to start the day joyfully. For me, I not necessarily just found this to be a way to have a successful day, but on the flip side, I have found when I do the opposite, we definitely have unsuccessful days. When I'm up too late, when I sleep in, when I'm not prepared, definitely unsuccessful. So as hard as it is to just hit that reset button, set your alarm early. You're gonna be tired that first day, but then just, bear through it and then get to bed early that night and get on a good routine of getting to bed early, waking up early. You're gonna be much happier when your kids wake up. If you've already been up for a little bit and had time to wake up, you'll greet them with smiles and you'll be prepared for a good, solid day. Tip number 2 is to allow space for life to create a detour. Every day could be very overscheduled, but you know that one of your kids needs or something physically in your house is gonna break, or you're gonna get a phone call, or you're gonna have to tend to something that is going to be urgent or possibly distracting, and you're gonna need to tend to it. So for us, the space that we create in our days is our quiet time. It's the time that my kids start their quiet time by reading, and then they finish it just by playing quietly, independently. It's as good for them to find that quiet, restful space in the middle of the day as it is for me as a mom. Most often, I use that time to refresh for the afternoon and the evening, just setting my heart, resetting my heart kind of for the day and just breathing for a little bit. But it's also time that's necessary if lessons take longer or if attitudes need adjusting, that we can just sit with our kids and not have school on the agenda. It helps us be more successful in the time that we can dedicate towards school if we have time set in the middle of the day to refocus our hearts or tend to things that are necessary and potentially urgent. So not overscheduling, so you're not feeling the pressure from both ends of life and school kind of colliding. So number 2 is to just create some space in your schedule for life to have its way. So my 3rd tip is tech down and praise up. So for me, and I'm only speaking to myself, you guys, just remember I'm not judging anybody for the way that they run their homes. In our home, Our days are much more functional and go much more smooth if we do not turn the TV on, if we do not allow screens, if I don't get distracted by my phone, if we put all the tech down, all the overstimulating things, and put on hymns or peaceful music, or if we do quiet time or devotions or anything like that in the morning. So positive noise to fill the space, positive affirming words to fill the air, not distracting, overstimulating, hyperactive, bright, colorful, busy things that then nobody wants to pull away from to start school. It definitely sets our heart in the right place when we're hearing hymns in the morning, when we're hearing worship in the morning, than when we're hearing the news channel or when Disney Junior is on. So definitely reevaluate when you are willing to hand over a tablet or when you are consuming it yourself. So, because most of this really has to do with us starting the day out on the right foot than our kids. So be aware of that consumption of technology and what it creates, how it creates an atmosphere in your home. Definitely lends itself to a rough start in our house. Kind of on that same topic, my fourth tip for a successful homeschooling day is to limit the distracting toys and things and objects. So there's the idea of strewing. I have a morning, like a warm-up basket I call it, which I put some logic toys in and switch those out every now and then, so that when my kids wake up and they finish their morning routines, they don't then go into their rooms and start playing while I'm cleaning up from breakfast. Instead, they can go into the schoolroom and they can grab some books that are out on the table or some of those logic toys or school games that are in the homeschool warm-up bin, versus playing with their toys in their rooms or starting a Lego set and then not wanting to come back to the schoolroom and starting school. So just being mindful and intentional with what activities are allowed to be started before the school day starts versus it being kind of like a free-for-all, because I've done the years of having it be a free-for-all and then I'm the bad guy trying to start school and it's just kind of a disaster. So intentional mornings, intentional activities, even when you're not actually yet starting school. And tip number 5, if you have little ones, is, and I'm talking like 2nd grade and under, is to meet the needs of those little ones first. The older kids, upper elementary, middle school, high school kids, obviously can get started on their work or can be independent while you just take the time to fill those little ones' buckets up. It's so important, and you'll find that time spent with them first thing fills them up, and they don't need your attention as much throughout the day. Of course, you have to give them attention. They are little kids who need their physical needs met constantly, but you'll find just how much it fills up their little hearts and how content they are to then either be obedient for the remainder of the day when you give them tasks, or just to be content playing on their own. I've found, my kids are all very different. My older 2 are very agreeable, obedient by nature. My younger ones are the ones who just really need help. And so what I've found, especially with my youngest, you guys know little Hurricane Annabeth, is that when I sit down with her and I spend an hour with her, playing with her, reading books with her, it doesn't have to be anything prepared. Sometimes we have really great sensory bins and lessons planned and we're doing preschool. Sometimes I just tell her to pick a book off the shelf and we sit on the floor and she sits in my lap. But I spend about 45 minutes to an hour in the morning, just she and I, while the other kids are finishing their breakfast, finishing their morning chores. That little girl is just so happy for the rest of the day when I spend that time with her. On other days where I think it's less important, and I believe that like getting started with the older kids is more important, and I'll just kind of throw her a bone and give her some Play-Doh and kind of keep her entertained, she comes back and needs more and more and more attention. So it's just so much more beneficial for you and for your younger ones to just spend that time together. It's so important. I mean, developmentally, it's so important. It's important for your bond. It's important that your commitment to home education doesn't take away from their early childhood development time as well. And so just spending that time in the morning, you'll find will set everybody in the right place. Because if you guys have, you know, very busy little ones, you know that if those little ones are not content, nobody is getting school done that day. So my number 5 tip, which is most important if you have little kids, is just to fill their little buckets up first. So those are my 5 tips for a successful homeschooling day. As far as the practical tips. Again, I could go on and on and on and on and on about how we can set our hearts in a different place, but not going to. But you guys know I could talk for 45 minutes. If you guys are proud of me for making a short and sweet video, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you guys check out all of the other videos in this playlist. I am sure you guys are going to find some amazing tips from some seasoned homeschooling moms in this playlist. Show them some love, give them some comments and some thumbs up, help them with their channels, and I will see you guys soon. Bye guys.